I think most people are completely ignorant to the reality behind the dark forces that operate on Halloween and the dark forces that are actually glorified through Christian participation in the satanic holiday.
Yeah, and there's a reason why you're very passionate about this and knowledgeable about this. Can you share your testimony and your history and the events that you witnessed as a child?
Yeah, I was 25 years old before I discovered what had really happened to me in my life. I had very little memory of my childhood, but in my mid-20s, I started seeking counsel for panic attacks and anxiety, severe insomnia. And through the work with a very skilled counselor, I began to recover memories of satanic rituals in my childhood. And the story that unfolded was really a terrifying journey to discover that the reason I didn't remember my childhood is because there was so much trauma that my mind had blocked it away.
Yeah. Can you explain that? Because I know that there's a belief that sometimes when you go see counselors, they'll plant things in your mind. And maybe that does happen, but in this case, that's not what happened. Can you talk about what goes on in the occult and mind control and how they make that happen?
Certainly. Well, one of the reasons people have a difficult time recovering from this kind of trauma is because mind control is done to the victim to suppress the memories and to threaten the victim into silence. So when I was working with counselors, they never planted a suggestion in my mind. When I would go for counseling, what I was seeing in my mind's eye, what I was feeling in my emotions, and what I experienced in my physical body was very real to me. And I would share that with the therapist, who would listen and encourage me. But at no point did anyone say, well, this is what you are, until after the facts were on the table. So I feel very confident that no one planted these ideas or memories. And the content of them is so horrific that it's a difficult thing even to discuss in Christian circles. You know, God gave me Ephesians 5:11 years ago, which says, have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, rather expose them. And the second part of that is that it's shameful even to discuss what is done in darkness. But we have to discuss it to some extent, or that kind of evil will continue to permeate our society. And the really scary reality to me is that at least, and I believe this is a conservative estimate, 2% of the population has suffered the kind of abuse that I suffered in satanic rituals. Now, the Portland geographic area is a real hotbed, and I would say that the statistics for the Portland area are much higher for occult abuse than in other regions of the country.
So why is that?
Well, it's some people say it's a mecca for witchcraft and Wicca. There's a very large community of witches in the area, not only in downtown Portland and the surrounding areas, but out into the rural areas of the countryside. I'm very aware of numerous covens that operate on a continual basis. And Halloween is their high holy day. It's a satanic holiday. It's a day when satanic rituals happen. And in those rituals, there is, in most prominent covens, human sacrifice. It's terrifying to me, the numbers of missing children and adults that happen every year at this time. And I think that it's important for the church to be able to stand up and say, this is happening, this is real. We can't have a blind eye in the end times. We must be able to stand with certainty that Jesus Christ is our Savior, and those things that are evil and are of darkness would be separated from them, because there should be no fellowship of darkness with light. And that is one of the reasons that I get so concerned about Christians participating in this satanic holiday. For me as a child, I was horribly abused. I was raped. I was beaten. I remember seeing human sacrifice, and it terrified me. It absolutely terrified me. And I see people today thinking of witchcraft as no big deal. Children are reading Harry Potter books in school, but let's not be deceived. This is witchcraft. The idolatry of ghosts and witches, even the dressing up in those sorts of things, is a way of participating in a very satanic and evil holiday.
Yeah. What happens, what sort of witchcraft do you see in government? I know they're in high places of government, and working in coordination with the elite in Hollywood, the powers that be in Hollywood.
Wow, that's a
now you don't
very
have to
broad topic.
You don't have to mention any names, but I know you have some ideas.
Well, I will say this, that my family was an Illuminati family line. I come from a royal bloodline, and my parents were very involved in Illuminati activities, everything from gun running to drugs, child prostitution.
Gun running.
I have very specific memories of seeing the crates and the guns, and being in other countries. My father was in hiding in the Philippines for 3 years because the government became aware of his illegal activities.
In the United States?
In the Philippines. My
Philippines.
father went to the Philippines, and I believe he was engaged in those activities there, and he went into hiding.
Well, that's interesting with gun running. We hear that going on right now. What was that all about?
My father had a private pilot's license, and so he had access to aircraft, and I believe that he sold guns. I do have a memory of being in South America and being part of a child prostitution ring down there.
And why would your father, who was in the occult, do something like that to his daughter?
They believe the ends justify the means. And so their intention, the occult intention, is the New World Order. And much of the occult activity that happens today happens through Freemasonry. It happens through major religions, and it happens through the U.S. government. I've had a number of very specific memories where the mind control was done at government locations and military bases. And I work with people that are recovering from this abuse that describe very similar things. So the terrifying idea is that the U.S. government, certainly, and it began in the 50s, with projects to create mind-controlled slaves that would do their bidding in the formulation of the New World Order.